You wake up to a sound that doesn't belong to a city. Not one explosion, many. A distant rolling thunder that never stops. The air is white with frost and smoke, and men are shouting the same word like a prayer and a warning. Encircled. Stalingrad. Winter, 1942. Somewhere behind you, Soviet forces have pushed around the flanks and linked up. The map you trusted an hour ago is already dead. The roads out are no longer roads, they're watched corridors. And inside this pocket, the enemy isn't only bullets. It's time. You were told the battle was about taking a city. Now it's about not being buried inside it. Your unit is scattered, radios crackle with half orders. A runner says the ring closed near the river crossings, then vanishes into smoke. Men argue, break out now, or wait for commands that might never come. The objective becomes simple. Get out before cold and hunger turn you into something too weak to move. Because this is how encirclement kills. Not with one dramatic moment, but with days that get smaller, colder, and emptier.
Get down! Take cover! Move back!
Encirclement doesn't mean you're surrounded in a neat circle. It means the rules of distance change overnight. Yesterday, a road was a road. Today, every road is a corridor, and corridors have mouths. If you walk into one at the wrong time, it closes behind you. The Soviets don't need to flood the city with troops. They only need to control the edges, the crossings, the junctions, the open ground where vehicles have to move. Inside the pocket, everything starts shrinking. Fuel becomes a countdown. Ammunition becomes a ration. A wounded man becomes a weight you can't hide from the cold. And the worst enemy is confusion. Because nobody inside the ring has the same map anymore. Radios crackle with promises. Supply by air. Relief is coming. Hold positions. But you can't eat promises, and you can't warm your hands on orders. The pocket forces the same brutal question on everyone. Do you spend strength now to move, or do you stay and let time spend you? Here is the trap most men fall into. They treat encirclement like a pause. They wait for the situation to clarify. But encirclement isn't a pause. It's a tightening grip. The longer you stay, the more the exits become watched, and the more the city turns from battlefield into cage. The cold isn't background here. It's a weapon. Your breath comes out in thick white clouds that can give away your position. Snow creeps into your boots. Fingers go numb so fast you stop trusting your own hands. Metal bites skin. A rifle that worked yesterday starts to feel slow and stubborn, like it's resisting you. And every time you stop moving, the cold tries to claim you quietly. This is what the ring does. It forces you to choose between two ways to die. Spend strength moving through open streets, or save strength and freeze in place. Either way, winter is charging interest. Men begin making mistakes that aren't tactical. They burn energy sprinting in panic, then collapse behind cover, unable to stand again. They keep wet gloves on too long. They sleep in the wrong place and wake up weaker. A wounded man doesn't just bleed, he chills. And once your body temperature drops, courage doesn't matter. Your thoughts slow, your decisions slow. That's when you start making the kind of choices that get entire groups trapped. Bullets kill fast. Winter kills everyone who can't keep moving, thinking, and rationing heat, 1 hour at a time. Now the pocket gives you its real villain, and it isn't a man with a rifle, it's a decision. The order comes down like a wall. Hold, don't break out, don't retreat, stay inside the ring and wait for relief. It sounds disciplined, it sounds like control. But inside an encirclement, hold means one thing: trade time for hope.
Still nothing.
You hear the promise that keeps men calm: supply by air. Planes will bring food, ammunition, fuel, enough to survive until the ring is broken from outside. But you can already feel what promises cost in a city like this. Airfields are snowed in. Anti-air fire is thick. The pocket is huge. Even a successful drop can land in the wrong hands or in the wrong street. And the longer you wait, the ring doesn't stay the same. It hardens. Soviets dig in. They move guns closer. They learn your routes. Every safe corridor becomes a trap they can predict. This is how a pocket becomes a grave. Not because men stop fighting, but because the decision to stay turns hunger and cold into guaranteed enemies. You can survive a day of terror. You can even survive a week of terror. But you can't survive a winter that is getting worse while your options get smaller. So now the true question isn't, are you brave? It's, will you move while movement is still possible? Or will you wait until waiting becomes the plan? Inside a pocket like this, you don't fight all day. You manage limits. The men who survive aren't the strongest. They're the ones who waste the least. First, ration heat before you ration food. If you sweat, you die later. So you move in controlled bursts, then stop in cover. You keep clothing dry. You don't run unless running buys you something real. Second, avoid the crowd routes. In an encirclement, everyone wants the same street, the same cellar, the same safe corridor. That creates traffic, noise, and predictability. Predictability gets shelled. So you move like a thief, quiet, sideways, using ruined walls and alleys instead of open roads. Third, choose night and bad weather. Snow and darkness are your camouflage. Clear daylight is the enemy's. If you must move across open ground, you do it when the sky is worst. Fourth, protect your hands and your brain. A numb hand can't reload. A cold brain makes stupid choices. You eat small, breathe through cloth, keep fingers moving, keep thoughts sharp. In Stalingrad, the fight isn't only against soldiers, it's against the slow math of exhaustion. Every mistake adds weight. Every disciplined decision buys you one more hour of movement.
Ambush! Take cover!
In the first hours after a ring closes, escape is still a door. After that, it becomes a wall. At the start, the encirclement is messy. Units are moving. Positions are still being dug. There are gaps, thin ones, but gaps. That's when a breakout has a chance. Not because it's easy, but because the enemy hasn't finished turning the ring into a machine. Then time does what bullets can't. Fuel disappears. Vehicles freeze or run dry. Horses die. Men weaken. Ammunition gets counted like money. And every day you stay, the Soviets learn the same thing you learn. Which streets you use, which ruins you shelter in, which crossings you keep hoping will open. The ring tightens in 3 ways at once. It gets closer. More guns moved forward. It gets smarter. Your routes become predictable. And it gets heavier. Artillery turns open ground into a place you cannot cross without luck. This is why so many pockets die slowly. People imagine waiting is neutral. But waiting is an action with a price. It means you try to solve a moving problem by standing still. And the ring loves still targets. So the breakout window isn't about bravery, it's about timing. If you're going to move, you move while strength and surprise still exist, before hunger and winter turn you into something that can't. Here's what history says once the ring closes for real. The Soviet counteroffensive, Operation Uranus, hit in mid-November 1942, striking the weaker flanks around Stalingrad instead of the city center. Within days, the pincers met, the ring closed, and roughly 250,000 to nearly 300,000 Axis troops were trapped inside the pocket. German formations, plus Allied units caught with them. After that, the battle changed character. It wasn't a contest for streets anymore. It became a contest against time. Relief attempts failed to break through. The air supply promise never matched the size of the pocket. Winter tightened. Hunger spread. Strength drained. By the end, the outcome was brutal and simple. The pocket collapsed. In late January and early February 1943, the remaining defenders surrendered, tens of thousands taken prisoner. Only a small fraction would ever return home. That's the real meaning of the ring. Once it closes, the fight isn't only against an enemy army, it's against time, and time wins by turning soldiers into bodies that can't move. Now change only one thing. One decision that could actually happen in the first day. The ring closes, the radios crackle, and instead of waiting for a perfect order, you move while the encirclement is still soft. Not a heroic parade breakout, just a small group slipping out before the edges become walls. You don't take the main road. Roads are watched corridors now. You move sideways through ruins and snowdrifts. You choose night and bad weather because visibility is the enemy. You carry less. You avoid crowds because crowds create noise, and noise attracts artillery. When you cross open ground, you do it in short bursts, then flat, then still again, like the land itself is listening. Does this guarantee escape? No. Stalingrad doesn't hand out guarantees, but it changes the odds in a way that makes sense. You're moving before hunger drains strength, before fuel disappears, before the Soviets finish digging in, before the ring learns your roots. And that is the entire alternate branch, not winning the war. Just one earlier decision: break while movement is still possible. Because once the pocket hardens, the same distance that looks crossable today becomes impossible tomorrow, not from bravery, but from physics, cold, exhaustion, and time. Stalingrad teaches a brutal truth about collapse. The ring doesn't kill you with one strike, it kills you with time. Inside an encirclement, the first enemy is confusion, the second is winter, the third is hunger, and the last is the system that tells you to wait while your body is being turned into something weaker each day. That's why the most dangerous moment isn't always the loudest bombardment. It's the quiet decision to postpone movement, because postponement feels rational. It feels disciplined. It feels safe. But a ring rewards only one kind of thinking, the kind that understands that standing still is also an action, and it has a cost. The people who survive pockets and sieges aren't the ones who want it most. They're the ones who stop feeding the trap. They stop following the crowded route. They stop trading days for hope. They preserve heat. They preserve strength. And when a window opens, snow, darkness, confusion, they move. Stalingrad didn't become a grave because men were cowards. It became a grave because time, winter, and orders worked together like a machine. And the only counter to that machine is the hardest decision in a collapsing world. Move early, while movement is still possible.